Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Reagan.
Here.
Vice Mayor Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Celaya.
Here.
Councilmember Hawkins.
Here.
Councilmember Montaño. Councilmember Walter. Councilmember Woolridge. Here. We have a quorum.
Just for council information, we have a second.
Turn on your mic.
For the council information, we have a second executive session at 5:30, so we'll adjourn to this session now on the motion.
Make a
And
motion to adjourn
then
to
we'll-
executive session? Second.
Okay, then after that, we'll adjourn that. We have to come back in here at 5:30 again, go into executive session. We have a motion on the floor to move an executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
Can we
same.
not make a motion to adjourn to the second one at this time?
No, we posted it 2 different times.
Okay.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Need a motion to adjourn from executive session.
Make a motion to adjourn from executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn from executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Hang on, folks, you ain't going nowhere. Need a motion?
Make a motion, we adjourn to executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn to executive session. This will be on the discussion of possibility of offering a contract to our new town manager. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No, whoa, Lisa.
It takes a motion to adjourn from the special meeting, and then we've got to call this meeting to order because there are 2 separate agendas.
Okay,
What do we have to do, Lisa?
I need a motion to adjourn from the special meeting.
we did.
We,
You adjourn from executive session.
okay.
We did.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn from the special meeting? Okay. That was one at 5 o'clock, right?
Now you're going to call the meeting to order?
We need to pass that. We need to pass
Yeah.
it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now I'll call the meeting to order for the 5:30 meeting. Roll call, please.
Mayor Reagan.
Here.
Vice Mayor Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Celaya.
Here.
Councilmember Hawkins.
Here.
Councilmember Montaño.
Here.
Councilmember Walter.
Here.
Councilmember Woolridge.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Now we need a motion to move to executive session.
Make a motion, we adjourn to executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn to executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need a motion.
I'll make,
to adjourn from executive session.
make a motion to adjourn from executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn from executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Folks, before we start the meeting, we're in the process of working up a contract in the back, so we're going to take about a 5-10 minute break. Good news tonight. We've adjourned from executive session, right? Twice? We haven't? What have we done?
You're on item 4, adjourn from executive session.
I thought we had done that already.
We adjourned to executive session, we left, we took a break, and now we're coming back.
Okay. Need a motion to adjourn from the second executive session.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn from executive session. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd ask you to please rise to the invocation performed by Reverend Donald Woolridge of the Union Baptist Church here in Florence.
Honorable Mayor, I'd like to first, on a personal note, and council, let it be known that I'm governed by wholehearted, undaunted belief that teamwork makes the dream work. So I want to thank you on behalf of the faith-based community for this opportunity. And I refer to scripture that reads, unless the Lord builds a house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. Will you join me in this sacred opportunity? Eternal God in heaven, we come thanking you, O God, for this another day that you've made. And Father, as we look to the providence of God for all things, I ask you, Lord, to breathe wisdom, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding on these, the chosen ones to lead and guide this town, that correct and proper decisions may be made, that lives may be impacted by the truth, oh God. And as they go forward, Father, I ask that you protect other entities of this town, protect our police department, protect the fire department and other entities, Father, that are part of the process. And Father, we will be faithful to praise you and to glorify you. I thank you for what you're doing. In Jesus' name, amen.
Valerie, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This time for call to the public. Call the public for public comment on issues within jurisdiction of the town council. Council rules limit public comment to 3 minutes. Individual council members may respond to criticism made by those commenting, may ask staff to review a matter raised, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, members of the council shall not discuss or take any action on any matter during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. Have one request. We'll let Denise go first. Denise?
Denise Kohlert, Florence. Good evening, Council and Mayor. The reason I want to speak tonight, I was here 2 weeks ago when you undid what you had decided on the sign. I had not seen the pictures because I wasn't here the first time you discussed it. I thought the sign that you picked out, that you had agreed on, when I saw the picture 2 weeks ago, I thought it was a really nice sign. And I think it would look very nice on that quarter, and it would look better than having the banners across the streets, you know, across downtown to show what's going on downtown. And I hope that you made a decision, are going to make a decision tonight on that. I just wanted to tell you, I really thought it looked nice, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Does any other member of the public have anything they'd like to speak on?
Hi, my name is Scott Smith, and I am the event chair for the Florence Relay for Life this year. We have split the Florence and Coolidge Relays for Life to fight cancer, and Florence is going to have their own relay, and Coolidge is having their own relay. And I'm coming here tonight to ask for some support. We still need a bunch of committee members, and we need as many teams as we can get. If anyone is interested in being a committee member, we're having a meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at the middle school. And if anybody wants to start a team to help us fight cancer, we're having a team meeting on Monday at the middle school at 6 o'clock. And it's going to be a great night, and I hope we have a whole lot of support.
I would advise the community to get behind this. I think it's a good project that we all need to get behind. And I don't know if I can be there, but we'll be there in spirit.
Thank you, sir.
Scott, is that at the Florence K-8 school?
Yes, at Florence K, classroom 206.
Thank you, Scott. Any other member of the audience? Seeing none, I'll call to the public. Lisa?
Item 8, consent. All items indicated by an asterisk will be handled by a single vote as part of the consent agenda unless a council member or member of the public objects at the time the agenda item is called. Item A, approval of accepting the register of demands ending November 30th, 2012 in the amount of $1,316,384.75. Item B, approval of accepting the register of demands ending December 31st, 2012 in the amount of $1,529,543.73. Item C, approval of a lease renewal agreement with Resonate Media LLC for Suite 202 in the Silver King Marketplace. Item D, authorization to forward a favorable recommendation to the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control regarding Assumption of Blessed Virgin Mary Parish application for a special event license on Saturday, February 9th, 2013 for a Mardi Gras celebration. Item E, authorization to forward a favorable recommendation to the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control regarding the Elks Lodge application for a special event liquor license on February 10th, 2013 for the 2013 prison run. Item F, authorization and to enter into a contract for auditing services to Henry and Horn LLP in the amount of $92,000 to extend the auditing service contract for an additional 3 years. Item G, authorization to award purchase of an exhaust filtration system to Clean Air Concepts in the amount not to exceed $63,653.10. Item H, adoption of a resolution number 1375-13, a resolution of the Town of Florence, Pinal County, Arizona, ordering the extinguishment of a portion of a right-of-way located in Florence, Arizona, generally described as a portion of 6th Street, to be used for the installation, maintenance, and repair of utilities. Item I, adoption of resolution number 137613, a resolution ordering the extinguishment of a portion of right-of-way located in the Florence, Arizona, generally described as a portion of Church Street, to be used for the installation, maintenance, and repair of utilities. Mayor and members of council, that is your consent agenda.
Does any member of the council have anything they'd like removed from the consent agenda? Any member of staff? Need a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as written.
I second.
We have a motion to approve, and a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Item 9, unfinished business. 9A, discussion approval, disapproval of selecting a monument sign to be located at the northeast corner of Butte Avenue and Main Street. Mark Eckhoff?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're bringing this item back to you. It's been on the agenda the last couple of meetings, but tonight is back on the agenda, and I think we took some direction from the last meeting that we're not coming with a specific recommendation this time. We're coming with the opportunity to consider all of the sign options. They're actually all quite good sign options for the subject corner. Again, we're talking at the corner of Butte and Main, where the new National Bank of Arizona facility is under construction and fortunately back on track this week. The sign is originally the sign was discussed as part of the downtown streetscape project, so for quite some time coming into town from the north or south, there's been discussion of having a monument sign alerting visitors, residents, others that you are entering the downtown business district and also the downtown historic district. Of course, the DC or the historic district, you're generally talking from Butte to Ruggles along Main, which coincides with the DC district item that we're talking about later on this evening. Let me get.
That's okay.
Let me get the slide, the sign options. Okay, so the monument sign would be located on the corner, as you know, and we have the options A through F here. And as you recall, initially staff had a recommendation for the item F, option F sign, that went to the Historic District Advisory Commission. They also forwarded your recommendation for that. That went to council and was approved 5-2, I believe what the vote was. At the last minute, though, your concerns were raised about that sign, and that approval was rescinded. So now we're back to options A through F. A is a standard monument sign without the reader panels, without the electronic message center. The electronic message center, I gather, was one of the more controversial aspects of the sign. B incorporates a small EMC or electronic message center. C has a fixed banner area, so this would be a banner that would be produced and installed into the sign, probably behind a glass panel, somewhat similar to the marquee sign that's downtown today. Option D had a really large EMC, and I don't think that went over well with really anybody that looked at that one. Option E has the larger banner option. And then you have option F, which was kind of a compromise of a couple of the earlier signs. It has the medium-sized EMC, also has the historic downtown Florence verbiage on the top of the sign, the bricks that are locally sourced to reflect the character of the area, and also to go along with the new bank construction. The other option is to select one of these sign options with modifications. And Those could be a variety of things, but one thing we suggested potentially is if you were to use option A, perhaps we would have more room for the courthouse figure that's there and the words Historic Downtown Florence if we were to remove Arizona. So we could look at a variety of options on A through F or suggest one of those as is. And I think at this point I could provide a whole lot more background information, obviously, but I think I'll be looking for your direction and be willing to.
On option C, how high is that sign? It's 6 foot something?
11.
Yes, and that's another option, Mayor, on any of the sign. The height of the sign could also be something that would be stipulated. It could be 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot. If we go with the banner panel or the EMC, probably need to get the height so you can have a large enough panel for the message in there. If you go with an option A, it probably would work as a lower profile sign.
In the historical district, is there a sign height ordinance on ground signs?
Yes, Mayor and Council, indeed, in the Historic District, in the guidelines, there is a guideline for monument signs of 4 foot. Now, in the code for the DC district, it's 8 foot in this scenario. So you have so it definitely is within code. The guideline, it deviates, but you do have flexibility, as the HDAC has, to deviate somewhat if you feel the circumstances are appropriate.
Thank you.
Mark, what is the cost of each one?
Mayor, members of council, the cost at the high end on option F would be $15,000 is what we've discussed with the National Bank of Arizona in relationship to the agreements that have been made regarding improvements that they've promised to do at the commencement of this project. If we go with an option A sign, the sign is going to be included as their off-site improvements that they do for us. So there would be no impact other than the long-term maintenance and ultimate replacement of sign components over time.
On the,
Yep.
on option B, I know on option F, a lot of people were not real happy because it was so large with the electrical part, and the Historic Downtown Florence part was smaller without the courthouse on it. But I noticed option B, it's got electrical sign that's about half that size, and the Historic Downtown Florence part incorporates the courthouse. I'm just kind of leaning towards that one myself.
Is there,
Tommy?
is signage a budgeted item? Do we have a budget for this? Is there?
Yes, Mayor and Council, there is a budget for this particular item. So if we
It
go
was
up,
designated for, signage was designated for that funding?
yes, if we go up to the $15,000, there is a budgeted item. There's a couple different scenarios. One, there are unutilized funds in a line item in the community development budget for one. There also are funds that we have allotted for economic development or downtown redevelopment enhancement types of activities. So the funds do exist if we want to spend up to the $15,000. On the option A sign, and maybe even some of the signs with the non-electrical message center, we might actually get those included as part of the streetscape project. Definitely A, and potentially even the other signs.
So the intention, I guess, in the beginning of this, when we were looking at the electronic signs, was to create an opportunity for the town to benefit from some type of public announcement, rather than the banners that went over the top of the entry to Main Street. And I believe that what was discussed in HDAC meetings and before was the purpose of having it with the larger panel was the smaller panel wouldn't get out enough words people would have to loop back around to catch the second part of the message. I'm still in favor of F. Maybe not so much the color, if it was just plain amber without all of the flashy colors. But I agree, we do need to have some type of a way to put announcements, and that's a high traffic area for people that are driving through, be able to see events and things that are going on. As far as the code versus the HDAC guideline, HDAC guidelines are just guidelines. They're not our codes. If we have to, and I'm not sure if that one's under 8 foot, but even if we had to bring it down to 8 foot, I still think we get the maximum benefit out of that signage with option F.
Mayor, members of the council, if I may, that was a point that was made on option B with the smaller electronic message center area. You would not have enough opportunity to capture your audience that's there either walking by or driving by, because you would be able to do that with the larger message center because you can get multiple lines of text, but you have about 6 to 8 seconds potentially to catch somebody's attention with a message, and the option B would really be kind of tight for that. The other benefit of the option F is there is the potential to utilize some imagery with option F.
What was the recommendation from the Historical District Advisory Committee?
Mayor, members of the council, their recommendation was option F. Actually, option F didn't exist that evening. It was a modification of what they directed us at that point was to look at option D and make modifications, and those modifications ended up resulting in option F.
You know, I spoke about this last time, and I'm still correct in what I'm saying. First of all, the reason the Historic District Commission voted the way they did because they told them they did not have the authority. And that's a fact. Check the records. The point, and that was by town liaison. That's incorrect. We do have guidelines that our town has to go by. Now, I realize we can vary somewhat, but it distinctively says no electronic signs. And as I said before, we told the hardware store they could not put up an electric sign that changes automatically, yet we're turning around now, or we're saying we can for us because we're the town. That's wrong. We stick to the guidelines. You don't like them, change the guidelines. I can understand that we might have to vary the height. That can be done. But to change the whole thing back to what we say we can't do, no, that's not right.
I disagree with that. I was at the Historic District meeting, and they were given several options. They weren't forced into making one single option.
I'd like to see the minutes on that, because I was told by 3 of them that they were told.
You can check the meeting minutes, but they were given several options, and they chose to come up with a modification of between several of them.
Was there any no
So
votes?
they had more than just options. They had the ability to modify the options that they were given, and that's what they did, and that's how they came up with the sign.
It's not my understanding at all. But I do know the codes. And I
Codes
do
are
know,
different than guidelines.
excuse me, the guidelines were put in force by the council that sits, not all of us here today, but this council. If we put those guidelines in and we told them to go by them, we can't change in midstream.
Can you give us a difference between guidelines and codes, Mark?
Mayor, Council, Member Celaya, the codes are obviously the law of the town of Florence. So if in our book of ordinances, the codes are the law, and there's no deviation from those unless you do a text amendment, unless you do a variance. The guidelines were established to help preserve the character of the historic district, but to be flexible enough to deal with unique circumstances of infill development and new development that occurs in the district. So it is somewhat challenging, and I think, you know, one of the reasons, obviously, this is a little bit more challenging than some of the other cases, is that it's the first new building construction that's occurred, and it's on in quite some time in the historic district, and it's on a very prominent corner. So, and you've got the merging really of the historic district and kind of the modern elements of a busy commercial intersection with the Circle K and the subway and so forth. So I can appreciate the challenges of incorporating the new construction on this corner. The guidelines allow some flexibility to deviate. Now, what I shared recently with the HDAC is that the guidelines are an important tool to have, and if we're going to have them, we should generally try to follow those guidelines, because generally being consistent with those guidelines will help us to preserve the district as a whole. But there are going to be opportunities, such as even the approval of the National Bank of Arizona facility deviates from the guidelines. It would have to, because it's a modern building, and also SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office, says don't build a new building that looks like it was built in a different era, historic era. So
What they think, this keeps going off, by the way. Have you asked SHPO what they think about electronic sign?
yes, Vice Mayor, Mayor, Council, we were actually surprised by their response on this particular case. They did respond that they supported the option F sign at that location. The reason that they did, they took into account a few things. Number one, that it's a busy commercial corner. It's a site of new development, and even the construction that was on the site before was not of historical significance. It was a gas station that was not old enough or established enough to have created any historical legacy. So the site itself was not critical, and you have new construction on it, and then you also have a modern intersection with signalization there on the corner, and you know, non-conforming to the guidelines, at least, commercial signage on the Circle K and on the subway. Where we definitely, there's a huge distinction between looking at a corner like this or looking at, say, the 1891 courthouse or McFarland or the Silver King, there where you're dealing with a site of true historical significance and a building of historical significance. And so you do need to be extra cautious that we don't try and put something ultra modern or clashing on a building like that. But I will go back to really, I appreciate the sensitivities of this item, and actually all of the signs are good signs, and we would support all of them. In fact, option A, we have absolutely, I want to clarify that we have absolutely no objection to option A if that's the sign that we want to go with. In fact, that's really the direction that the Streetscape project was going from the start. It had a real basic low profile sign. As other entities became more engaged in this process, the other departments and other individuals saw the opportunity for the economic development and marketing angle of the sign. And there are some benefits in the electronic message center of promoting activities in the town and in the downtown area. But certainly, we could also find other avenues to do that type of promotion. There could be signs in other locations. There could be other marketing tools that we pursue. So I would love to come here and you know, with a solid recommendation for one of these signs, but I totally appreciate the challenges of the decision, and you know, either A or F would be wonderful signs. And it's also, I mean, the reality of it is too that it is not a permanent decision. The lifetime of a sign, you know, 10, 15 years from now, we might be talking about changing the sign and doing something different, or changing out the wording on the sign, or doing something. So I think it's number one thing to consider is that it would be great to have a sign on the corner and to get the bank going up, along with the courthouse restoration and other things that are going on. This is all part of the package, and think it's pretty exciting. Of course, on the other end of Main Street is our efforts are progressing on the Territory Square, so I think it's pretty exciting to get some of this stuff going on and support whatever decision you might have.
Was Shipple's information related to the Historical District Committee?
Mayor, members of the council, yes, it was.
Thank you.
How far would it have to move to be outside the historical district? Across the street?
There would be some challenges of locating the sign on Main Street to be outside of the historic district. You would have to go a little bit further north. At that point, I'm not sure that we're have as captive an audience as we do right at the corner of Butte and Main. So there may be other opportunities, such as I think the council has mentioned probably on a couple occasions about signage on 79, potentially doing something on 287 coming into town. As far as getting a sign on Main Street, these four corners are probably the most attractive for a sign in the downtown historic core.
And most beneficial for economic development.
What was that, Tommy?
And most beneficial for our economic development, enhancing opportunities to advertise for events businesses are putting on. Is that?
The Parks and Recreation, the Economic Development Coordinator, the Jess Knudsen, Deputy Town Manager, Public Information Officer, they've all indicated, amongst others, I believe, indicated a preference for a sign that would allow them the opportunity to market events, perhaps in a way other than how we do today with a large banner that goes over the street.
So an advantage.
And I prefer option F. And in order to expedite this, we have the recommendation from Schipul. Do we need to, in order for us to be in compliance with our codes, can we request a variance? Can we do that if we're so strongly about being in compliance with our codes? Because we really need to expedite this.
Mayor,
Although
members
I would prefer to make a motion to recommend sign F.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve it, sign F. Mark, you had something you wanted to say?
Mayor, members of the council, I would offer too that if you were to pursue option F, you could also we could also take the direction from the mayor and council to potentially come back with an amendment to the guidelines that could deal with this issue, so you felt comfortable that this is not something that would be repeated or establish a precedent on other areas where you wouldn't feel comfortable with this sign. So we could work on a text amendment potentially to, as council.
I see as Councilman Smith put it,
We already have a motion on the floor in a second.
Yeah,
if the committee would go ahead and change the ordinance or the code, then I'd be in favor of it.
What's that, Ruben?
If the committee would change the code, then I would be in favor of it.
You mean if the historical district
Correct.
would ask us to change the code on it?
Yes. I mean, like it was pointed out by Councilmember Smith, if we've already turned down True Value for something similar, for having an electronic sign, why are we all of a sudden going to change it at this point?
True Value is a historical building. This is not on a historical building site. I think you still need to keep in mind that there's a difference between the historic district's guidelines versus what the codes are. What is the height of that sign, sign F?
6'5".
6 foot 5 inches.
And the code allows?
8 foot.
So we're within
And the
code.
guidelines are 4.
Which code?
Yeah, the code for the DC district allows 8, but the guidelines, Vice Mayor, you're absolutely correct. The guidelines do say 4 foot for a monument sign.
Thank you.
And for the electronic, does DC allow electronic signs?
That in the historic district, the guidelines generally discourage against the modern signs that have electronics that some may view as inconsistent with the historic district. So, but it's hard to go back and build a lot of modern commercial signs for new development and infill development in a manner that would be in full compliance with the guidelines, quite frankly.
And, you know, as pointed out in the last meeting that we had, Mayor Rankin had stated that, you know, Florence in the 50s and 60s had a lot of neon signs, and it pointed out about the electronics. At that time, that was up to date. You know, if we just change the DC code, then we're following in compliance.
Is this within code?
The sign is within code.
Thank you.
Yes, the sign is within code.
Thank you.
Any other
Once again, I think we had a motion and a second. We should have voted on it. I don't know why we're going through this discussion.
We're still in discussion stage before the vote. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve option F.
I request a roll call vote.
Roll call.
Councilmember Woolridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Celaya,
Aye.
Councilmember Walter,
Nay.
Councilmember Hawkins,
Aye.
Councilmember Montano,
Nay.
Vice Mayor Smith,
Nay.
Mayor Rankin.
Nay.
Motion fails.
Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve sign option A.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and second to adopt option A. Open for discussion?
Can this sign be changed later on if the DC code's changed to put electronics?
At a cost.
Mayor, members of the council, it would be pretty difficult to modify the sign to come in and add electronic message center to the sign later on. You would have to significantly redo the sign, but
This sign A could be moved to the other end of Main Street by the Silver King Hotel and put an electronic one up at the bank if it was changed.
that's always a possibility as well, Vice Mayor. Yes, sir.
Would you be cutting into asphalt in order to get all of the infrastructure in for that?
Either.
Data communication lines, electronics?
Yes, either way, members of the council, on either sign, there's an electronic component to all of the signs. So either it's the internal lighting or it's electronic message center. All of them require the electrical connection to be made on the bank property. The one additional thing with the electronic message center was the internet phone connection, but we were provided easements and the ability to do that. So
Can the
that's
conduit be placed underground to prepare for it?
absolutely, yes.
You know, the one thing I like about option A, it says Arizona on it. You know, there's more than one Florence in the United States. The courthouse means significant to us, but it really doesn't mean a whole lot to people that don't live here. But the Arizona, I think, is what brings it out. Even though I do like option C, due to the fact we have the able to put the banner underneath of it to advise people of what's going on downtown. But option A gives us a brand, so to say, Florence, Arizona, just not Florence. All right, there's Florence, Alabama, Florence, Oregon, a whole bunch of them. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for vote and roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Walter,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Hawkins,
Nay.
Councilmember Woolridge,
Nay.
Councilmember Celaya,
Nay.
Councilmember Montano,
Aye.
Mayor Rankin.
Aye,
Motion carries.
thank you.
It's a lot of work. Next item, unfinished business, item B, ordinance number 590-13, discussion approval and disapproval of an ordinance of the Town of Florence, Pinal County, Arizona, amending the Town of Florence Code of Ordinances, Title 15, Land Usage, Chapter 150, Development Code, Sections 150.059, Downtown Commercial, DC, and 150.047, District Use Regulations, Table B. Our first reading and presentation was at January 7th, 2013 meeting. If council has any questions, we can address them now.
Any questions, Mark? Hearing none, need a motion?
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 590-13.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 59013, the downtown commercial tax amendment. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Item 10, new business. Item A, discussion, approval, disapproval of entering into an employment contract for the position of town manager.
Okay. You know, a lot of times communities take forever in hiring a manager and finding managers that are qualified to be in a position to help their community. The town council went through the process of advertising for a manager, receiving the applications, going through the applications, doing the interviews. Tonight I'm proud to say and happy to say that we are going to offer a contract to our new town manager. A new manager is coming in that will have the direction of our community for many years to come, we hope. That like 11 the last time we had it, if we were only so fortunate. But tonight, the town council has offered a contract agreement to our new town manager from Castle Rock, Colorado, Charles Montoya. Tonight, Charles is in the audience with his lovely wife, Rebecca, and they will be starting to work, or he will be, next week. So, Mr. Montoya, thank you very much. Come on up and grace us with your presence.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I do definitely appreciate this opportunity to not only work with all of you, the community, the business members, but also my colleagues and staff. You know, I feel fortunate, and I definitely look forward to being a part of the community and helping you all guide this community as we continue to move forward in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank your wife for allowing you to come out tonight.
You bet.
We're really happy to have you. We really are. We've got a lot of things going in this town, a lot of good things that can, and we want you to be a part of it, and we want you to give us some proper direction.
I'm pretty excited about it, and I look forward to it.
Good.
Absolutely.
So everybody, that's who we got. So if you have any rocks, quit throwing them at me, throw them at him.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion to offer a contract for our new town manager, Charles Montoya.
We have a motion and a second to offer the contract to Charles Montoya for a year and a half contract. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All approved, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. You're stuck with us, bud. Lisa.
Item 10B, resolution number 1378-13, discussion, approval, disapproval of a resolution of the Town of Florence, Pinal County, Arizona, approving the form and authorizing the execution of delivery of a lease purchase agreement for certain equipment, delegating authority to the finance director of the town, determining certain matters and to terms with respect to their foregoing, authorizing and taking of all actions necessary to the consummation of the transactions contemplated by the resolution and declaring an emergency.
Any discussion?
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 1378-13.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 1378-13. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Item C, discussion, approval, disapproval of purchasing a 2013 Pierce Felicity platform from Used Fire Equipment, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $1,151,553.10.
And this is from Jeff, right? This is for the fire truck?
This is for the fire truck.
Jeff, you got anything you want to say? You're getting ready to spend $1 million of our dollars. You better have something to say.
Mayor, Council, good evening. This is so that we can replace the 1998 ladder truck that we have that's stationed at Station 542 in Anthem. That truck is 14 years old. We've put a lot of money in the last 2 years in repairs, maintenance of that truck. This truck will take approximately 8 months to build. So they're going to build it from the ground up, and it'll be ready for our service after that with your approval. Answer any questions you have on it.
What are we doing with the old truck then?
The old truck will be kept right now as a backup so that if the new truck goes down for annual maintenance and that kind of stuff, that they can move right into that truck and continue their operations.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a 2013 Pierce Velocity 100-foot platform.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to purchase a 2013 Pierce Velocity 100 platform fire truck. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Item D, resolution number 137713. Discussion approval, disapproval of a resolution of the Town of Florence, Pinal County, Arizona in support of the creation of the Sun Corridor MPO with the City of Casa Grande, the City of Eloy, the City of Coolidge, and Pinal County, and stating its intent to become an original member of the Sun Corridor MPO. Mark Eckhoff will be presenting on this item tonight.
Mayor, members of council, Jess Knutson apologized earlier today for not being able to being here tonight to present this item, but he's not feeling well. So I'm going to do my best to fill in. He's become the local resident MPO expert. I know many of you have been doing a lot of reading on MPOs lately as well. MPO, first of all, to knock out the what that means, it's a Metropolitan Planning Organization. And as I think we're all aware, there's a major one north of us in Maricopa County and a major one south of us in Pima County. MAG and PAG are what we refer to those as. Now, because of the growth that has occurred, although it's stagnated a little bit in the last couple of years, but you can see how the cities and towns are coming together on the western side of Pinal County. And the color areas that you see there on the map are representing urban areas and urban clusters, and then as a point of reference, Merrill Ranch is right in this area. So what transpired when the 2010 census was completed was that the Casa Grande area hit a population threshold where the federal law requires that they form an MPO. Concurrently, the Santan Valley area in this area reached a population threshold where they need to join an MPO. So there's been a lot of options laid out on the table. Casa Grande initially started taking the lead on this project, and they had their suggestions of what the MPO would look like. To our north, the Maricopa Association of Governments had their own ideas of how their MPO could come into Pinal County and how they could grow into this area. So some of the options that have been discussed would be a countywide MPO, which some have suggested would be impossible to do. The next best thing would be potentially to have an MPO in this growth region as large as possible to contain all of the urbanizing areas and all the areas that will urbanize potentially over the next 20 years and beyond, to get that in the MPO, and then to have the opportunity to grow that MPO as areas outside of that region grow. Another option is to have a smaller MPO, where Casa Grande would form their MPO, which they have to. So that's one thing that's uncontested, is that Casa Grande has to form their MPO. But they could have potentially a smaller one that would be Casa Grande, some areas of Pinal County, Eloy, Coolidge, maybe not Florence, and maybe not this area. Well, here's really the recommendation that we're looking at in this area. As you can see in the color exhibits represent the incorporated jurisdictions in this area and also the planning area boundaries. and all the cities and towns in this area have quite substantial planting areas. This map also represents some of the air quality designations that are reflected in this area. But I want to show you this map, and this is the map that was produced by Casa Grande, and their idea of the MPO is a little bit different than where the town of Florence is coming from, and also where Eloy and Coolidge and Pinal County have indicated they want to go with the MPO. The Casa Grande has been quite adamant about trying to leave out as much of the Santan Valley area as possible. And that's been a concern to us, because when you're thinking about the MPO, okay, one of the things that the MPO ultimately replaces the transportation component that CAG is providing for us right now. So we have to think regional, and when you think about the transportation issues and think about the air quality issues, you want this to be the MPO to be as large and as functional as possible, but you want to look at those commuting patterns and the development patterns and the economic development patterns. And it's real critical from where we're at here in the orange area, that there's this great relationship between the growth that is occurring down in this area all the way from Eloy to Coolidge to Florence to Santan Valley, and then ultimately to Superstition Vistas area. So the Santan region is extremely important for us from a transportation and air quality perspective, and ultimately regional planning on other levels. So it's really kind of been a off the table for us to discuss options that don't include that. The resolution that you have in front of you is suggesting that an MPO be created that would include Superstition Vistas, Santan Valley, all of the Florence planning area, all of the Coolidge planning area, all of the Eloy planning area, and also some additional areas of unincorporated Pinal County down in this region, such as Arizona City, which is an unincorporated area. Now, the city of Maricopa has passed a resolution where they actually have chosen to go with the MAG MPO. And one of the reasons they suggest for doing that is because in Maricopa, they have a much stronger relationship with the Phoenix Chandler area, economic development-wise, commuting-wise. Their development patterns are quite similar to them. So just as I was talking about our relationship with the Santan, ultimately Superstition Vistas area, they have a relationship with the Phoenix metro area. Now, of course, we had desired for them to join the MPO, but they've already acted to pursue being in the MAG MPO. The other couple of issues are Apache Junction will desire to be in the Maricopa County MPO, and Queen Creek as well. And those are jurisdictions that overlap both Maricopa County and Pinal County. But we believe if we can get this MPO as large as possible in this region, that provides a great opportunity for us. It provides a starter, and ultimately it can be expanded over time. And you do have Pinal County, Coolidge, and Eloy supporting a resolution such as what you have in front of you tonight. The plan then after this would be we would forward our resolution to the city of Casa Grande. City of Casa Grande is going to put their documents together and present that to ADOT and to the federal highways, and work with them to form the MPO. And we're going to be side by side in that process, making sure that if we send them a resolution that suggests what I've said here tonight, that we want to make sure that that is the direction that we go on this. And I know the other jurisdictions feel the same way as well. Will this really change anything immediately? I don't think that you're going to see any immediate changes. We're going to continue to work with CAG and the Regional Transportation Plan, Pinal County Air Quality. Some of those things are going to continue. Ultimately, the formation of an MPO is going to have a huge impact on us, and if the MPO can ultimately partner more with the CAG organization, there'll be a way for them to really link land use planning, economic development, transportation, air quality, and other issues as they grow, as we have seen with to the north and south of us. So I know that's a a big discussion to have here tonight. This is really the starting point with the formation of the MPO as well. Things that are not on the table right now are the operating agreement, the bylaws and items, the voting structure. Those would have to be negotiated once there is direction on the entities that are going to be part of that MPO. Mayor, Council, I'll be happy to elaborate or address any questions you may have.
The one thing, the map is not set. The map hadn't been set. I can tell you that. The map can't be set until after we decide to join it. And then we also, if we decide to go with the Sun Corridor, Maricopa County MAG has agreed that we need to sit down and set boundaries on where we're going to go. That was discussed last Friday and brought out in Casa Grande. So if anything is, if we agree with the Sun Corridor, we still have to negotiate with Maricopa County on where the boundaries are to the north.
I got some questions for you, Mark.
Yes, sir.
The first one I'm asking, when it talks about here, you're talking about the eastern or the western region of Pinal County in favor of it, Casa Grande, Eloy, Coolidge, except Maricopa. What about the Copper Corridor in the east? Has anybody agreed that this is a good proposition to join this?
In the various discussions that we've had with Federal Highways and Pinal County, other jurisdictions, the indication was that there was not enough urbanization or immediate plans for urbanization on the eastern side of Pinal County to include all of that region today. But the plan would be to strategize and to form what we can today with the opportunity to expand the MPO to the east as growth occurs.
Okay, so with our north-south freeway that we're hoping they put in, going from Tucson up toward possibly Red Rock and then up to us, and then on up through Apache Junction or the East Valley, would it be beneficial to look at the MAG? Because that's where the growth area is, more than it would be toward Casa Grande. And the next question is Casa Grande in favor of our new highway that we're looking at? Because it'll now take traffic away from their development.
Well, Mayor, members of the council, you know, Casa Grande hasn't been extremely fond of the north-south freeway project. Obviously, it will ultimately compete somewhat with Interstate 10, lesser so Interstate 8 that they have an advantage with today. But the north-south freeway corridor, the purpose and need has already been established for that, and the corridor is being set. The alternative selection report should be issued here in a matter of months, and that project will go forward. Now, one thing about the north-south corridor is that it will increase the bond of these jurisdictions, but mainly the Eloy, the unincorporated regions of Pinal County, the Coolidge, Santan Valley, Florence. That is definitely going to increase the bond on through that corridor.
Which will put us everything east of the Gila River Reservation, correct? Going straight north?
Yes, that's correct, Mayor and
So
Council.
if we are looking at developing a strong relationship with Santan Valley and Apache Junction, which is already in the MAG corridor or the MAG MPO, why would we go with Casa Grande, who is against this development?
Junction, isn't it?
Santan Valley is right now not in an MPO, but they have to join one because of the urbanization that's occurred. So there is the option with the Santan Valley area to either go into MAG or potentially go into the Sun Corridor MPO. And at the end of the day, really, I think as you see with PAG and MAG, I'm sorry about all these acronyms this evening, but as you see, ultimately, you know, the commuting patterns, the development patterns, the economic development that occurs today, ultimately they're going to change over time, and we're going to get to the point where we do become more of one strong region, as you see in Maricopa County, as you see in Pima County. So what we've stressed in our meetings from a staff level is to make this central area of the Sun Corridor as unified and as strong as possible, because I think we're going to be a force in ourselves.
And
now,
discussed back in the December meeting, the early part of December, Mayor Rankin pointed out that with Casa Grande developing their MPO, they're not looking out for Pinal County. And he pointed that out with with Oracle, Mammoth, all the way to Kearney and on up through Superior, that they weren't even in what they're looking for in assisting them. So that we looked at the western region is going to fall under Casa Grande's control with their MPO, and where's Florence going to sit, with CAG and Pinal County, or are they going to go with Casa Grande only?
Let me address, Ruben, when I made those comments, that was my belief. After attending numerous meetings on this, talking to different federal officials and state officials, I would love to see Pinal County all be one MPO. But under the federal regulations, the eastern part of Pinal County cannot be, because they don't have the population now, nor do they anticipate within the next 20 years having that population. The Sun Corridor MPO can be expanded to include those areas once urbanization picks up, or we have growth like down towards Bassano Road. We have more building in there. We can pick that up. We can extend that. The Casa Grande, and I'll answer another question. I've talked to them too. The last time I talked to them, they are in support of the North-South Corridor. You also have to remember that they're also in support of Interstate 11, because Interstate 11 will run through on that side of the county. But they understand for our economic development and for our future that the North-South Corridor is the way it's got to go over here. Now, the other thing is, when we set and we developed the guidelines and bylaws for the MPO, that's what I was saying earlier. The maps have not been set yet. This is just to say, okay, we're going to get into it. Then we sit down and we develop the bylaws, the rules, and the map. Casa Grande has one vote. Coolidge has one vote. Eloy has one vote. Pinal County has one vote. We have one vote.
Why does Pinal County only get one vote?
Because that's what it's set up.
I mean, there's
But they can request a weighted vote, correct?
They can, but we, right now, we are trying to stay away from the weighted vote.
The biggest thing I look at, Mayor, is that you sat here on the council 8 years ago, 4 years ago, and you kept pushing the annexation going north. And during this time in the north, we see that. And so now we're nearly to the point where we're connected with Santan Valley. And that puts us in line with the MPO of MAC.
And that brings up the question, if we go with the Sun Corridor, will we be overlapped from the MPO from Maricopa in our planning area if we develop further out there? Therefore, having two planning areas within our town limits.
Let me explain about the Santan area. The Santan area has hit the urbanized size. They have to go, no matter what, with an MPO. It can be the Sun Corridor MPO, which even is not formed. Federal Highway and the State Highway and MAG recognizes that they can go with the Sun Corridor, or MAG can come down and take it into their area. Now, what we have, Mark, go back a couple maps. Let's see one more. No, right there. If you take a look at the goldenrod colors, that's your urbanized area. And there's two of them. At the meeting in Maricopa, they decided that they have more connection with Maricopa County, even though there's 16 miles that separate them at this time through the reservation into Maricopa County. But they felt that their people there commute more into Maricopa County to work. They were looking at the commuting only. As we look at the Sun Corridor from the Casa Grande, and if I remember right, it's about halfway between Maricopa and Casa Grande, and it sweeps around and it comes down and almost to Marana Air Park, and then back up on the east side of Florence. Okay, and it goes all the way up, and it takes in above Highway 60. Apache Junction is in MAG. They've been brought in a long time ago. We have the option of going with MAG if we decide to go through, let Santan Valley we're the key to Santan Valley becoming in the Sun Corridor or going to MAG. Florence is. If we stay out of the Sun Corridor and we stay with the transportation planning of CAG, our dollars will come down some because a lot of the dollars are going to go to the Casa Grande, Eloy, and Coolidge, okay? We'll lose some money. Not a lot, but we'll lose some. But if we don't go with the MPO, then Santan can't go in. It will have to be absorbed by Maricopa County. To me, our growth period to the north, and you're right, I've addressed the annexation to the north because that is a good growth period area with proper transportation routes in it, which we think the north-south corridor will be. Santan Valley is going to incorporate. I mean, it's inevitable that Santan incorporates here in the near future. And they're going to be the largest community in the county. We're going to be their closest neighbor. What I'm saying, and the way I feel about it, is that if we come up with a Sun Corridor, circling around from Casa Grande, Coolidge, down to Eloy, and down to where Marana's coming into Pinal County, because Marana's coming in, and we take it, we come up there the way it's planned, that we're going to have a control on the transportation routes. We'll have the strongest voice, as the county will, on the transportation routes in Santan Valley, where a lot of us go today. If we go into shopping at Fry's in the center of Johnson Ranch, or if we go from here to Apache Junction up to Genzel Road and everything. The east-west corridors in there are going to be very important for the development of our communities to the north, up there north of Arizona Farms Road. The east-west transportation corridor is going to be very important there, especially with the Williams Gateway Airport up there. So, you know, I took a look at it, and I had to do a lot of finding out because I was under some wrong impressions and had to go dig it out. But this is the beginning of forming something where we have more control for ourselves rather than being absorbed by a bigger entity, MAG. We can work with MAG on mainly on air quality, I think, is what we need to take a look at. But we have to take a look at and have the input into our transportation routes, not worrying about Maricopa counties.
Yeah, but I see right now that if you have Florence, Coolidge, Casa Grande, and Eloy, at this moment, we have 1 vote to 3 to try and push the transportation in our direction. We've had the opportunity with Pinal County to grow and develop access roads up toward the Santan Valley and into the East Valley, yet we have not done that. You know, at this opportunity, you're looking at the Santan Valley working with Maricopa County. They're going to go MAG at pretty much, because they're only 8 miles from Apache Junction. And if they do, then we're going to be at the opposite end of the MPO developed by Casa Grande.
And I don't understand where you're coming here. You say they are going to go. There's no entity out in Santan Valley that dictates where they go. The dictation is done by Pinal County. If we form an MPO, then they can come to us, or they can go to MAG.
Is there any indication what Pinal Partnership's doing with the area that they're master planning up there? Any indication on what they're looking at?
I can't hear you, Tom.
Is there any indication on what that Superstition project with Pinal Partnership, any indication of what direction they're looking at?
Pinal Partnership is in a position, I believe, and I wish they were here so Sandy could speak for them, but I think that they're looking for whatever happens out there for the betterment of Pinal County, however it goes. The working with MAG has advantages, has disadvantages. There's 26 entities, I believe, in MAG. 27 now that Maricopa went in. So you have to take a look at the federal dollars that are coming in for the areas that go with MAG and the corridor. I think that the destiny of Pinal County sits right on the north of us. I think the development of Pinal County is a Superstition Vista project, which if we have the Sun Corridor, we have more input into it. If it's allowed to go to MAG and we stay in the Sun Corridor, then the decisions for that area are going to be made by Maricopa County, not Pinal County.
Exactly. I still want a answer to my question. Will there be a lapping of MAG and Sun Corridor in our planning area?
Mayor, members of the council, an MPO can't overlap with an MPO. So one of the problems with us potentially not including the Santan Valley area is that, and Santan Valley area going into MAG. So if we don't include it, it will go into MAG. The problem with that is that would take in some of our planning area. So whenever we would do an annexation that would occur in that planning area, now all of a sudden you have an issue of that area probably having to come out of that, go through the process of coming out of that MPO and into our MPO. And that's been a concern that we've raised quite a bit, because we have a large planning area and because of the state land to our north, amongst other directions, but we have the opportunity to grow and annex onto some state land ultimately. And so if MAG were to come down and take that area, it does impede that opportunity, or it makes it cumbersome for us to grow in that area, and also then makes it potentially likely that they might pursue also the Superstition Vistas area, which, 275 square miles of land. I know it's a long ways off, but it's a lot of land to develop with a lot of issues, and we just feel that the opportunity is there for us to form the largest MPO today that is best for Pinal County, realizing obviously MAG is very experienced in this. They have great folks, they have the expertise, but some of the things that we have to separate though is that this MPO, the Sun Corridor MPO, which is, it's not the Casa Grande MPO, just for clarification, the Sun Corridor MPO will start off as only an MPO. So when we think of the MAG MPO, or we think of the PAG MPO, we're also combining that they do other regional planning efforts. They do demographics, they do census activity, they do economic development, they do housing, they do homelessness. So they provide a lot of services. But if MAG were to come into this area, those services would not overlap. They would come in and only do the transportation function. The other conflicting issue is that the reason they've been very successful with transportation projects in Maricopa County is because they passed Proposition 400, I believe it was, several years ago. That funding cannot go out of Maricopa County as well. So, there's a lot of advantages with MAG and PAG, but many of those advantages would not overlap into Pinal County.
So what are the three areas right now that are in Pinal County that are part of the MAG?
Pima Association of Governments has already, with Marana's annexation, they've already come into Pinal County from the south. And then Apache Junction and Queen Creek obviously have the joint jurisdiction issue with a lot of their development in Maricopa County. So that's the direction they're going, and I mentioned with Maricopa. But the other large majority of the developing growth area could easily become in the Sun Corridor.
Ruben, remembering that the MAG coming into Pinal County, the Queen Creek, is only into Queen Creek's town limits, nothing with Pinal County. It's just on the town limits, which is a very small portion of Queen Creek. Mm-hmm. It's very small.
So do we have to make a decision tonight? If we decide not to go with the Sun Corridor, what occurs?
Well, where we're at is the plan has to be submitted to ADOT and forward to the governor by the 23rd or the 31st of March. I can't remember, somewhere in March. It has to be done. We're the last ones to address it. Everybody else says address going with the Sun Corridor. We need to get it done as fast as we can so we can set up the staff meetings to determine to start setting the boundaries, setting up the meetings with MAG and PAG so that we can all work together on it. And the director of MAG, Smith, I can't remember his first name.
Dennis Smith.
Dennis, a very likable guy, very knowledgeable guy, and he understands about, we have our own. They really don't want it. They have to take it whether they want it or not. If we don't go into it and it's not included, and Pinal County doesn't include it in us. Maricopa County, I mean, they're, no matter what, they've got it. Santan Valley's got to go somewhere. So is it good for us to take it in? I think so, so we can set our own direction.
That kind of brings up a question about Santan. I'm kind of unclear with our staff recommendation here. If you look, there's actually two staff recommendations on the item. One of them seems to recommend an adoption contingent on the inclusion of Santan Valley and Superstition Vista areas. Is that how I read that?
You're looking at your staff recommendation?
Yes.
That is the staff recommendation that staff was forwarding to you. Mayor Rankin is aware that at the end of last week, we became aware of new information about the changing of the boundaries. And when we first started negotiating and talking to the city of Casa Grande, it was with the intent that those areas would be in place. So council can make the recommendation contingent upon that.
Tommy, the original map that came out, or the map that came out last week that we saw, Mark, you want to put that one back up here? The last map? Yeah, that one there. That doesn't include our planning area. Casa Grande wasn't aware of that when they developed their plan. First of all, Casa Grande really wasn't talking about Superstition Vistas when they first started talking about the Sun Corridor. Because in my opinion, that's where the majority of the transportation study and work's going to have to be, is in the Superstition Vista area.
Where's the location of the Superstition Vista?
Where's what?
Where's that location at?
Mark, point out our planning area there.
Forest Junction all the way down to...
Superstition Vistas is going to be this yellow area that you see here. The orange, there's a dark orange outline. That's the incorporated limits of Florence, and then the lighter orange outside of that dark line is our planning area. So you'll see that in some of these jurisdictions. There's a shade differing because of the planning area or incorporated area.
And they have been told, all the members of the committee know that, of the working committee for this, all know that our planning area has got to be included in the mapping of it. But that's why I said that we need to get this done so that the cooperation between the Sun Corridor MPO and MAG can begin to set the boundaries on it.
I thought we were either in it or out of it. How can we make a recommendation contingent upon Santan and Superstition Vistas?
Not contingent upon. Where we're going is that what we're looking at is if this is included in the...
Is it included?
In the Sun Corridor MPO.
Is it included in the Sun Corridor MPO?
At this point, no, because no map is really, there's no map that's been adopted by anybody as far as what the area of the Sun Corridor MPO will be.
The maps have not been finalized at this point, but if the council wants to go on record of saying that they want their planning area included, and they want those areas included, then we can write it into the resolution.
Well, the word "if" to me is pretty much synonymous with contingent. I mean, if they become part of the Sun Corridor, then we're on board.
When I said "if" tonight, I meant that if council would like that to be done, staff can do that and amend the resolution so that your desires for that to be incorporated will be known to the city of Casa Grande.
And I can tell you this, Pinal County would like to see the Sun Corridor included Santan Valley.
So, Section 4 on the resolution says to promote both continuity and participation in the long-range planning, the area included in the Sun Corridor Metropolitan Planning Organization will be designated as Western Pinal County, Arizona, will include all of Pinal County, Arizona that generally lies west of the westernmost boundary of Range 11 east of the Gila and Salt River Base and Meridian, including the areas known as Santan Valley and Superstition Vistas, excepting the planning areas of the town of Queen Creek, Arizona, the city of Apache Junction, Arizona, and city of Maricopa, and certain other unincorporated areas of Pinal County. So the way I'm reading this is, if we do this resolution, either we're stipulating that Santan Valley and Superstition Vistas are included, or is that just a wishful thought, or
No,
It says included but not limiting.
that's what they're asking for, is that to be included.
Who's asking for it? We're asking for it, or Casa Grande is?
Casa Grande, Coolidge, Eloy, Pinal County, and us.
Oh, I thought they, I'm, from the
So does-
conversation I've been hearing, I
The other
didn't,
communities have already sponsored or passed their resolution.
oh, I thought they didn't want Santan Valley in it.
No.
The other communities adopted their resolution, and then last week we found out that the map was amended, which took out areas that were included in the other communities' resolution. That was the concern.
So as
Got me mixed.
with Santan and Superstition Vistas unincorporated, Pinal County is their representative, therefore they're in agreement with the Sun Corridor. Is that what I
haven't
understand?
seen- But I haven't seen anything in the agenda from Pinal County that stipulated they were in favor of the Sun Corridor.
They've already passed their resolution. They passed their resolution last week.
What are their
In
thoughts on the
support of
Sun?
Corridor.
What are their thoughts on Superstition Vista and Santan Valley being part of that?
Their position is they want Santan Valley in it.
And Superstition Vistas?
Well, yeah. Superstition Vista is going to be the biggest
Yeah.
planning that's ever gone on in the state of Arizona on one parcel of land.
If incorporation happens there, do they have the ability to change? Or are they pretty much locked in with Sun Corridor?
Changing MPOs is very, very
It's
difficult
harder to get,
because you have to get a majority of both MPOs to be in favor of it.
okay, I got you.
Okay, so if we vote to do this resolution, then Santan Valley and Superstition Vistas will be included. Is that Mike?
That's
Yes.
correct.
MAG can't take them away later.
Bill, the thing on MAG taking them away, MAG will work with the new MPO. We can include that in the MPO. If we don't, then MAG has to take it.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
I saw that, but I'm just saying, let's say, Santan Valley incorporates next year or whatever, then can they say, well, no, we'd rather go with MAG?
Again, telling what I repeated to Tommy, that has to be, if they're included at unincorporated in the MPO and they incorporate, then they become an incorporation point of the MPO.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Instead of the 5 or 6, then it adds another community. And again, they have to have the majority of MAG, and they have that, to want them to come, and they have to have the majority of the Sun Corridor MPO
Let them go.
to allow them to go.
Okay, that answered my question. Thank you.
So just for clarification, one more time around the block, is it staff recommendation, the second staff recommendation where it states if it includes Santan Valley and Superstition Vista? Is that the official reading?
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, yes, for absolute clarity, the suggestion that you're getting from staff, which is consistent with the other jurisdictions that are trying to form the MPO, although with some reservation potentially, but from Casa Grande, that we hope to work out with them, is that the MPO include all of the Santan area, Superstition Vistas area, Florence and the planning area boundary, Eloy and the Eloy planning area boundary, Coolidge, Eloy and Coolidge planning area boundaries and incorporated limits, and Pinal County, as much of the unincorporated areas as we can bring in. It would accept out the planning areas of Apache Junction, planning area of Queen Creek, which is pretty small coming into Pinal County. Also would be accepting out the city of Maricopa. So it really is bringing in, for the most part, all of the growth areas of western Pinal County, except for the city of Maricopa. I mean, in all practical purposes, and believe that gives us the greatest shot in this game, and it's a great opportunity for us to pursue. As noted, we would have to sit down with them, so there isn't a precise map here. There are no bylaws, there are no operating agreements. There's, all the details have to be worked out, but this is this is a starting point on the resolution. If we can get this acted on tonight, it'll be forwarded to the City of Casa Grande, and they can continue to take the lead on the formation of the Sun Corridor MPO.
And the only reason they're leading it is because they have to. At this point, they're the one that has to make the recommendation to ADOT, who then forwards it to the governor, who then forwards it to Federal Highway. And Federal Highway is the one that eventually adopts it, but they usually go with whatever the governor of the state wants. There's 2 areas in Arizona that this year, Sierra Vista and Casa Grande, I think it hit the threshold. I don't know of any others in the state. And when I first started looking at the Sun Corridor MPO, I really wasn't for it. I had a lot of, but I've asked a lot of questions and attended a lot of meetings, and found out every time we go to another meeting, another question comes up and we can get answered someplace. But to me, it's an opportunity for us to become Pinal County as a whole, and starting to act like MAG and act like PAG by working together.
The only thing the interesting part about having computers, you could go back, and I'm looking on the whole month of January's agendas for the Pinal County. They have not discussed anywhere about the Sun Corridor MPO.
I was told that they were already passed the resolution.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Bill.
I'd like to make a motion, we pass resolution number 1377-13.
Can we read that all the way out? Can we read that all the way out, stating allowing participation by the town of Florence in the SCMPO if it includes Santown Valley and Superstition Vista areas?
I think it's written in there. I think it's in there.
There's 2 different staff recommendations.
Oh, fine. Just make it part of
We need a second then. Do you have any trouble with that being added to your motion? Okay.
I thought it was in the resolution.
There's 2 staff recommendations, Bill.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve resolution 1377-13, adding to it if Santan Valley and the Superstition Vista projects are included in it. Is that correct, Tommy? Is that?
Yeah, as read on the agenda, the second staff recommendation.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Sorry. Item E, ordinance number 591-13. This is the first reading of an ordinance of the Town of Florence, Pinal County, Arizona, amending the Town Code Title 7, Chapter 72 by adding Section 72.04 concerning restrictions on vehicle weight. This is a combination of the police department, courts, and legal. I'm going to have Mr. Minato address you.
Thank you, Mayor and member of the council. The purpose of this ordinance is to take what's contained in the Arizona revised statutes pertaining to weight restrictions on commercial vehicles and incorporate it or fold it into the town code. And the purpose of it is so that if a citation is issued by the police department against a commercial vehicle for a weight violation, that if in fact the motorist is found responsible of that violation, then the fines would be retained here. Currently, when these are handled as a matter of state law, the municipal court is required to forward the fines up to the state. But the violations that are described herein are essentially, or actually exactly what you'd find under the Arizona revised statutes in Title 28, the Vehicle Code.
Kind of like double dipping.
I think it's overdue.
Yeah, I do too.
Now, the thing I look at when, even though you're looking at Arizona Revised Statute Title 28 for traffic, if it occurs on a state route, the fine is paid to the state, correct? Or interstate?
No, well, what's germane or what's important to the town is if the violation occurs within the town limits, then the adjudication of that is handled in the municipal court. But the critical thing is under what provision of law is the motorist being cited into the municipal court. If you cite them under Arizona revised statutes, then that's how the violation is entered into the system, and because of that, the municipal court is required to transmit those fine monies to the state. If the motorist is cited under a local ordinance, the municipal court is able to retain the fine monies here, and they would go into the general fund.
Okay, so if you have a vehicle coming on Highway 79 from Tucson headed north of Florence Junction, and it's on a state route, and it comes through the town of Florence, what you're requiring is then pay a permit to drive the vehicle above the weight limit, correct? Because it showed on there that any amount going over, there was an assessed value.
Yeah, there is a process, I think, where you could get a permission to do it. And you've seen like these oversized vehicles and so forth. You know, you can get a permit, but what we are typically talking about here is dealing with the local transportation of sand and gravel and those kind of materials, where the drivers get loaded up in a sand and gravel yard, and then they go on the scales, and somehow or other they come out to the highways of the town overweight. Currently, the only way to deal with that problem is to cite them under the Arizona revised statutes. That's fine. It's a way of dealing with the problem, but it doesn't result in any of the fine monies remaining here in the town of Florence. It results in the opposite. So simply by adding this, making this a local ordinance, and therefore making it a local violation, that the town is able, through the municipal court, to keep the fine monies here in the town.
Chief, how many officers do we have currently working commercial vehicles?
Mayor and Council, right now we have 3 officers that are commercially certified. So we run truck enforcement from time to time, and as stated, if we run truck enforcement, we will write them under the municipal code for the town of Florence. They'll be cited into our municipal court, and all the fines will stay in the town of Florence.
And then most of those vehicle stops, are they done on Highway 79 or Highway 87?
I believe so.
So we have grant money that we pay for the 3 officers to work commercial vehicles, correct?
We not only have grant money, but we also have the weights and scales here within the department so that we can run our own truck enforcement.
Okay, so my concern is we're spending more time and money looking at vehicles on state routes than we are patrolling actually within the community itself.
No, they do that. They'll run. We don't take them off the street to do that. We actually we set times, and we'll bring them in on a separate truck enforcement. We schedule them in advance so that we know when the officers are doing that. Or if in fact they find a truck that's overloaded on a back road or something, they'll make a stop and they can do the scales. But I don't pull the officers off regular routine patrol. This is in addition to their regular routine patrol.
As overtime, or is it regular hours?
It could be either. If on a day where we have enough manpower, then we'll allow Andy or the other officer to work a special detail for a couple hours at a time. But the town comes first. Then we'll do the truck enforcement.
Are there salaries grant?
No, we do have a grant from GOHS to do some enforcement, including speed enforcement. We have a grant for that. Right now we have a $5,000 grant, and we're looking at others.
We've been doing commercial truck enforcement for years now. I mean, and we've owned those scales for several years. This isn't anything new that we're coming up with. All we're doing here is looking at retaining some more of the fines. Instead of sending that money up to the state, we're going to be able to keep more revenue for something that we're already doing. That's all this is. We're not coming up with a new ordinance on commercial vehicles or changing our officers. This is strictly, do we want to keep the fine money, or as much as we can, or do we want to keep it going to the state? Now, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's what I thought we were discussing.
Yeah, this has been brought up a long time ago, and I'm glad to see it on here. I think it's needed. I hate to see, because there are times that there's quite a bit of money that just floats through us.
Yeah.
I don't want us to get out here just be picking on the gravel trucks and things like that. I think there's other trucks that are coming through here that could be overweight, other safety violations on them. My question is, are we just talking overweight here? Or are we talking about the safety violations with Title 28?
No, this ordinance is only going to apply to weight violations.
Overweight.
Maybe we ought to take a look at adopting some city ordinances on the others in 28 also, on truck safety and so forth. Is that?
Well, currently, the legal fabric that allows us to cite commercial vehicle operators for safety violations is derived from the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Act as adopted by the state of Arizona. And so I'm not too, I don't know about that. I'll have to look into that.
Okay. Maybe you ought to look into that. Okay. Any other discussion? Need a motion?
First reading.
First reading.
No.
First reading only. Anyone? I'm just getting tired.
Yeah.
Okay. First reading only. Okay, that's it. Department reports, is that right, Lisa?
Interim town manager would like to do an oral report, just to announce to the public a couple of things. One, first, our finance director, Becky Galeen, has announced her retirement. Her official retirement date is June 21st, 2013. We have been privileged to have Becky Galeen as an employee of this town of Florence for more than 19 years. And we're very sorry to see her go, but we understand that we cannot hold her hostage and force her to do her job. But I wanted everyone to be aware of that we are losing a very talented lady and a great member of our team. A second item is that we are having a solid waste and recycling work session on January 28th. We will be starting at 5 o'clock, and the public is invited to sit and listen to council during that work session. And finally, the last item is I'd like to introduce our interim fire chief, Mike Duran. Mike Duran has 40 years of experience in fire services, and he comes to us to help us and assist us on an interim basis. If council would like to have him introduce himself, I think we can talk him into coming around to the podium.
I guess you got told what to do, huh, Mike?
Mayor Rankin and members of the council, thank you for the introduction, Ms. Garcia. Yes, I'm feel very glad and very happy to be able to come in and afford hopefully some support, sustain your fire operations, and I've done just trying to get caught up right now in a transition with what's going on, and Jeff Moser has been very, very gracious in helping me do that, and I'm getting a feel for your operations, your day-to-day operations. And right now, I feel you have a very solid organization, very good, prideful members. Just trying to hope that I can maintain the previous work that the foundation has been laid in the past. A very good operation right now. So thank you for the opportunity.
Keep up good work. Keep our department together. We're really proud of them.
And on a final note, we are actively recruiting for a fire chief at this time.
Any other department heads want to say anything like Lisa did? I hope not. Any member of the council have any questions for any member of staff?
I'd just like to state the reason, just so the public knows, Chief Moser did a great job. The only reason we're changing is because of a personnel technicality. So just want the public to know that Chief Moser did a great job.
He's still an employee, too.
Right. Yes, but I just want people to know that there wasn't a problem with Chief Moser. It was just a technicality.
Anything else? Second call to the public. Again, I remind the public that it's your opportunity to open for public comment on issues within the jurisdiction of the town council. Council rules limit public comment to 3 minutes. Individual council members may respond to criticism made by those commenting, may ask staff to review a matter raised, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, members of the council shall not discuss and take any action during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion legal action. This is the second call to the public in case anybody has anything they want to say about what's going on in here tonight. Seeing none, we'll go to call to the council. Tom? Reuben?
I have nothing.
Tom?
Yeah, just reminding everybody that February 9th is home tour, and there are brochures going up now, but we will have Tom Mix's Cord, his car that he was killed in, has been totally restored. We'll be back here on February 9th at the museum next to L&B's restaurant.
Tara?
I want to take an opportunity to welcome our new town manager aboard. Thank you so much for, making the journey down from Colorado. You guys will love Florence. And our interim fire chief, also welcome. Thank you for coming down and helping us out. And that is all.
Bill?
I have nothing.
Lowry?
Everything tonight?
Okay, it's my turn. Need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I second.
Motion moved, seconded to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're adjourned.